In a nutshell, I think it's safe to say with the three of us and for most metal fans, Operation Mindcrime is like an iconic album and would probably be up in most people's top 10 albums. What do you think about that, Robert? I'll start with you.
Oh, I agree with you 100%. I think that it's one of those albums where everything just clicks at the right time. The band had been together, I guess, 4 or 5 years at that point. They had put out some good material and they're really on the rise. And the songs, the story, the whole concept, it just all fits together in this perfect time. And the album it's just legendary and still so popular today.
Yeah, and I'll say that this was groundbreaking. It's like lightning in a bottle because not only was it like about metal and rock, but progressive rock as well. I mean, one of my all-time favorite albums ever. I mean, it's pretty untouchable. I saw him on the Empire tour when they played it all back to back, and it was phenomenal. This album, I listened to it again the other day. It holds up. It is solid. You could release, yes, yes. You could play this album in any decade, and it still holds true.
Yes. I remember I did not get into it at the time. Um, I actually saw them one time open for Metallica on the Justice for All tour, and they had this album out, and I had never heard it, and I just thought they were Jeff Tate was like jumping all over like a little rabbit. I was like I wasn't impressed at the time, and then I think after Empire came out and had some really good songs on there, someone said you really need to listen to Operation Mindcrime, and it's a concept album, and that kind of intrigued me because I'd never really heard of a concept album before. And so this was my first concept album. And that set the bar way up here, way up high. And yeah, it was a great album. It's got a storyline that you can follow. It's got mystery, intrigue. It's got murder. It's got politics. I mean, it's just got a whole bunch of stuff. And then when you watch the Operation Life Crime video, it's got imagery that would, I don't know. I think it would have made a great movie
I
had they
agree.
been able to put something like that together. And I kept on thinking they would probably do something like that. And I always wondered if Jeff Tate and the band was ever like approached to do like a movie or some sort of theatrical or theater type production because like Green Day has a American Idiot, uh, theater. Uh, yeah, I guess musical is what I'm trying to say. And there's the Tommy musical, and these are all things that have been put together. I always wondered why they haven't done an Operation Mindcrime. I think that would be really cool.
I think
But
I agree. I think that would have been amazing to do. They had, like you said, the script was right there in the album, and they already have, imagery in concert. And that would have been a great musical. That would have been fantastic.
and then many years later, they decide to put out the sequel, Operation Mindcrime II, in the year 2006. So that's about 20 years later, 22 years later, right? Oh, no, wait, what year? You said what year was that? 80,
87.
87. So almost 30 years. No, no, okay, let's say about 20 years later. I think time has kind of flown by for me. So, Operation Mindcrime 2 comes out, and I remember when I picked it up, I was like, "This is fine. This is okay." One song stuck out to me. It was "The Hands," and it turned out that I think that was their the one that released. I never heard it on the radio or anything, because it sounded most like the original album. What did you think about Operation Mindcrime 2? I'll start with you this time, Mark.
That's what I hear.
Yes.
Well, I went back and listened to it last week, and I got to admit, I was underwhelmed. It'd been a long time since I've listened to it. I would say probably 10 to 15 years, maybe more. And I would say you're right. The Hands is a great song. And the one with Dio, which kind of escapes me right now.
The
Um,
Chase, I think.
The Chase.
Chase, this is Chase, which is cool because Dio saves that song. I mean, he's the one that kind of like you listen for it for him. And it's cool hearing Geoff and Dio with the harmonizing. It was just cool. Besides from that, it's just kind of lackluster and just kind of not really that great. It was just like, I mean, it's not bad, but it's barely good.
What do you think, Robert?
I might have liked it a little bit more than Mark did. Um, I always had a little bit of a problem with it because I wasn't sure how organic it was, or was it just a money grab? Were they just going back to a concept that seemed familiar, a brand, if you will? And I just didn't think this story was as good. And that happens with sequels, right? But to me, there were quite a few songs on it that I liked. I liked I'm American, One Foot in Hell, The Hand. It's funny you mentioned the Dio song. So I'm half blind, right? And then when Mindcrime III came out, I thought I had hit Spotify and I'm listening to it. I'm like, well, this isn't bad. This is much better than I expected. And all of a sudden I hear Dio. And it's like, oh man, I've got Mindcrime II on. I'm an idiot. What's wrong with me? And so I had listened to the wrong album when I was trying to listen to the third one. A Junkie's Blues is a good song to me on there. And so it's not as good, but I didn't hate it. I didn't dislike it. I guess if I gave Mindcrime an A, I'm probably giving Mindcrime 2 a B minus or C plus, maybe.
Okay.
So I'm gonna back you up on that one. I forgot. I'm American's a really good song. I'm American's fantastic. Um, for me, I think it's more. I less than half the album that I really kind of enjoyed a lot. So I would probably go in off of. You said you gave it a B.
I would give it a B minus or a C plus.
Yeah, I'd probably give it a C, just because it has Jeff Tate's vocals. I mean, where he's still in his prime, and you have Dio on there, and there's a few good songs. So I would say, for me, it'd be a solid C. I wouldn't go any below that, but like I said, it was like it's a good album, not any more than that. But yeah, I totally agree that I forgot a few of those songs that were pretty good.
It
I do
definitely,
wish I could have seen that tour that they did on the album where they played Mindcrime 1 and then they took an intermission and they came back and played the second one. And they toured that for a while.
yeah, well,
That
I
would be
actually
cool.
caught that. I don't
Did
know.
Oh,
you?
okay.
Yeah. It was in Grand Prairie. I had seen the live crime on the Empire tour, which
As
was
I,
phenomenal, made me fall in love. And I got the CD. I wore out the videotape,
I
but
did too.
it was spectacular. And then I watched they re did the tour with just Mindcrime, and it was okay, but it was much smaller, and so it didn't feel as epic. But this time it had Pamela Moore in it. But I understood she probably toured on the Empire one, but she just wasn't at the one that I was at. And so she was at this one, so I thought that was cool. For those who don't know, Pamela Moore sung Mary's part in the story. And then they put out Operation Mindcrime 2. I was like, sweet, I bought it. Eh. And then we went to go see the concert, and Operation Mindcrime, awesome. Like you said, they took a break and then they came out, and it was just like, eh. It kind of, it just kind of, I didn't know the music because I hadn't really given it that much of a chance. And so it kind of got dull after a while for me. And, uh, and people who were with us were really annoyed with it too because they didn't know the other album. They wanted to hear more of their regular songs. So I would love. I know they released a video of that tour, and I would love to pick that up, but it's really expensive.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's hard to find right now.
Oh wow.
So since we're talking, so what did you guys give Operation Mindcrime? We'll go with the A B C D um thing. What did you give? What would you give Operation Mindcrime 1?
Well, I give it an A.
Okay.
It has so many good songs on it.
What about you, Mark?
A plus 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 plus. For me, there
Yeah,
is not one bad track. I think that is that album is perfection from opening to the end. It's like perfect. Yeah. So A plus 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 plus.
I would go along with that too, and I think I'll put the tip as A plus, so so I don't have to put pluses on the screen. But it's pretty much the perfect album. Once you hear the first song, you want to hear the entire album. There's no like, I like that one song. I mean, the thing about concept album is that you got to be able to want to listen to the rest of the album. I think if you're just in it for one song, it's not the best, I would think, concept album. Like The Wall. If you start listening to The Wall, you're going to want to listen to the whole thing, at least in my opinion. What would you guys, I'll start with Robert again. What would you give Operation Mindcrime 2? What did you say?
Is it a B minus or a
B
C
minus?
plus? It has enough songs on there that I'm okay with it.
What about you, Mark? You said
It'd be a
solid C.
C. It'd be
C.
a solid C. I mean, some songs that I was like, eh, but there is other tracks like I'm American and The Chase that are very good, that kind of make up for the other lackluster parts.
Okay, I think I'd probably give it a solid C plus as well. Um, it's not an album I reach out for, but I think if I were to like grab it randomly, I wouldn't be like, PU and then throw it out the door or anything like
Right,
that. So
right.
it was okay. It was fine. And I didn't give it a chance like I should have, and I'm glad I was able to listen to it again before Operation Mindcrime 3 came out, so I could kind of compare the three because it would have been tough to listen to that and three at the same time and try to make a good judgment of that. So I'm glad that's at least in my repertoire where I could actually go back to it and know what I'm talking about a little bit. But yeah, but I think we all can agree. But Operation Mindcrime 2, you miss Chris DeGarmo because he was the one that kind of him and Geoff were the ones that put together
Mhm.
the first one.
Agreed. Yeah,
And from, go ahead.
that was a huge loss when Chris left the band because not only did the guitar work leave, but also the songwriting between those two.
And because of that, actually, it turns out the Operation Mindcrime 2 wasn't even really worked on by the other guys in the band. It
Um,
was more of a Geoff Tate, from what I read, is a Geoff Tate solo project. And I guess they were just like, I guess we'll just tour with it. And
yeah.
but so that leads us now to Operation Mindcrime 3, which is what we're here to talk about. This is not a Queensrÿche product, even in name, like Operation Mindcrime 2 was. This is a Geoff Tate project all the way with people who we're probably not familiar with. I didn't even look up the names, so I couldn't even tell you who worked on this per se. But this was basically a Geoff Tate album. I mean, it literally says Geoff Tate. Um, and I thought we could. What were some of your initial reactions without talking about the songs? Because I'm going to go through each song, and this may go by quickly, it may not. If you can just give me opinions on songs as we go. But what was your initial takeaway from it, Robert?
Pleasantly surprised. Being that it was just Tate, not Queensryche, I didn't know what to expect. He's revisiting an idea for the third time. It's completely from a different perspective because I don't know what more you could do with the story since the characters are dead at the end of the second one. And this is now from what, Dr. X, is that his name? From his point of view, from what I understand. And so I was surprised though. It was better than I expected.
How about you, Mark?
Yeah, my expectations were pretty low just going into it, knowing it wasn't Queensryche and knowing it's just a Jeff Tate solo album. I, like Robert, was pleasantly surprised, and the more I listened to it, the better it got.
I agree.
I think Geoff understood what he had to do to make it at least sound the for its sound to make it sound like Queensryche. Um, I think he got the tone, he got the guitars, the production was just spectacular for this little album. And I think the biggest sin right now is that I don't own the CD because the only way you can get it is you buy it off his webpage, which I think it was like $50 with his autograph, and I think it even plus shipping. And so it's not cheap to get. So if I happen to catch him in concert, I think you can buy him at his concert. So I might do that, see how cheap they are. I'm hoping at some point he'll put them out on Amazon or something, so I can at least get it for at least like $20 instead of $50 or $60. I mean, that was just a little much, but
You can't get the unautographed version for $30 on the website.
oh, can you?
Yeah, I
Okay,
saw
still a
that.
little pricey for
Yeah, for one CD that's 44 minutes long, yeah, I'll pass on that one.
so thank God, I guess, for Amazon and Spotify and or wherever you guys happen to catch it.
Right. Otherwise,
Well,
I'd
you're in
never
luck.
hear it.
What's that?
Oh, I was going to say you're in luck because, his concert got postponed and he'll be back here in September and he's
Yeah,
playing
Fort Worth
Mindcrime
and
start to finish.
yeah, Fort Worth and Dallas.
That's right. 2 nights.
All right, and we'll talk about that here after we go through
Oh,
the track list. But so what we'll do is I'll go through the track list. There are uh, 13 tracks. And I say tracks because they're not all songs.
sure.
And so I'll just kind of I wrote a little bit of a blurb about each song, and then you guys I'll ask to see if you guys have anything to fill in on that and what you thought of it. So we start out with this thing with this ominous song called "The Scene of the Crime," which takes clips from the original album, I think, like the nurse, perhaps you need another shot, and then ends with a familiar gunshot from the original album. And I think it's kind of there to kind of set the tone, like you are getting an Operation Mindcrime album. Did you get that sense from that intro, Robert?
Yeah, I did. Admittedly, I don't know the story as well as you guys, and I had to go back and kind of reread some of it. And so there's just some little nuances and parts of the albums I probably don't know as well as you. And I really, I guess there's maybe like four short songs on there that are just instrumental or sort of like lead-ins or intros. I didn't really give those much time.
What about you, Mark?
Um, yeah, I thought that lead-in was pretty cool because you kind of get the vibe of the original one, and they did a good job of setting the tone of the album or CD, and knowing what we kind of knew. This is from Dr. X's perspective. That they're kind of like, okay, here we go. We are literally starting back from the beginning, but this is now from someone else's point of view.
And then with that beginning, you go into the first song, and I'm trying my best not to have any cursing, so I'm going to call it "You Know My Effing Name," which they don't take the F, they don't use the F, they use the F word, um, and it's called "You Know My Effing Name," and it's basically I get the perspective that he is singing to us, the listener, to remind us, you know who I am. Now I'm going to tell you more about me. Um, and he reintroduces himself to us. And like you said, the album is about Dr. X from his perspective. At least that's what it seems like. What did you guys think of the song? I'll start with you, Mark.
Actually, that was a great way to kick off the album. That was a strong, I mean, it was catchy right away. I mean, and with, the name of the song, and when they sing it, you're like, it kind of like drives home the point of what they're trying to say about Dr. X. It's like, you know me. So yeah, I thought it was a great opening track. I think it was fantastic.
How about you, Robert?
I like the song a lot, one of my favorite songs on the album, and I think it did really set the tone, not just for the story, but just the sound of it. That we're going to go back and I don't know a lot of Jeff Tate's solo material. I did go back and skip through some of his albums he did in the 2000 teens, and I didn't think some of it didn't sound like Queensrÿche. I thought this did though, and so when this song gets going, I thought it set the tone for the album. And I also, as far as the story goes, since I really don't know the story a whole lot and I don't have the pictures to see, I do have a background with musicals, and so I was listening to it, and the way I listened to it, it really set the story up well. As you said, we're reintroducing this character, and if I were watching that show, you know what's going to happen. And here he comes out, and he's, resetting the stage for this. And I love the song, how it has crowd noise. It's got some chimes in there, and I just thought it had this nice big sound to it, and it brought back the Queensryche vibes for me. And so I thought it was a good way to go.
Yeah, I've had some notes on here. It's like they had the guitar sound down for Queensryche. Um, it was very dramatic with the synths as well, synthesizers, and I thought it was a very strong beginning. After you know my effing name, the answer comes out, and my notes is this is more heavy, more groove. It's got sort of a groove to it. I think it's kind of Dr. X presenting his argument to potential listeners, to the people who are his followers, perhaps even to Nikki. It's not really. I really don't have a good concept of the timeline here, so I don't know who he's talking to, but I think he's talking to his followers. What do you think? I'll just start with you, Robert.
I thought the song was okay at first. The more I listened to it, I liked it better. It's not one of the better songs on the album to me, but it's fine. I did think his voice started to sound a little bit strained in parts. And just to me, I mean, Jeff Tate's got a great voice, but there was just a couple of parts of it. I thought it sounded a little weak. His age was showing on some of those higher notes. That's to be expected. Not that it was bad. I just thought it was a little noticeable. It's an okay song, nothing special.
You know what? I am right there with Robert. I thought the song was starting off really strong, and then I couldn't get past the vocals. Every time I listened to it, the vocals with Jeff sound strained, and they also sound like it's almost like they're wavering almost, where it's like something there is just doesn't
It's
sound
kind
right
of
to me.
warbly or
Yes,
something, if that's
yes,
the right word.
exactly, warbled, yeah. And every time I listen to it, I can't get past that. So for me, it started off decent, and then once the vocals kicked in, it kind of lost me, and I lost interest in that song.
Okay, and then next up is Vulnerable. I really liked this song. I think there are some parts of this song that I think it felt like he kind of picked out of the first album. Some I don't know some tones from the music or something. Like I just sensed Operation Mindcrime album like moments, and I like the whole "My life is Mindcrime and Mindcrime is my life." I thought that the way he chanted that. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Robert?
There's parts in the album that I really liked where they do that, and in that part of the song, that phrasing in there I like. And sometimes you get that, I don't know if it's the narrator or who it is, but you get that real deep voice saying things in the background.
Like
I
that
love all of that.
Empire, that
Okay.
Empire, right?
And but this song didn't do much for me. And I've got kind of a check minus and a frown face here. It just didn't resonate with me, and I didn't like it very much.
Mark.
So I actually liked it. I thought it was a pretty good slow-paced and mid-tempo song, and it had traces back to the original Mindcrime album. So I kind of enjoyed it because I guess especially after hearing the answer, it kind of got me back into like, okay, I'm back in track with this album again.
Okay, and then next up, the fifth track is "I'll Eat Your Heart Out," and my note says this is another heavy song. There is this weird part where Mary is going and I don't know, it almost sounded like Middle Eastern or something. I don't know
That's exactly what I wrote.
what they're trying to go with there, but I did look up the lady's name because this is not Pamela Moore singing. This is a lady called Clodagh McCarthy. And I found that from one of Jeff Tate's interviews because I was like, who is this lady? And I couldn't find like a track of who was doing everything. But I thought it was a really good song, though it was a little weird. Robert?
I really like this song. I have the same thing written down at about a minute and a half. You get some of that background vocal that sounds very Persian or Middle Eastern, and it comes back a time or two later. And it starts out with a really good guitar riff. It settles down, but then at about 3 and 3:20, 3.5, it really kicks in with some nice guitar that I liked, and one of the better songs on the album for me.
Yeah, I agree. I thought this was a great song. I actually thought this was a very Queensrÿche sounding song. Kind of going back to that, not Jeff Tate solo, but more that classic Queensrÿche sound. So as soon as I heard it, I go, okay, I'm really digging this song a lot. It probably close to my favorite songs on the album.
All right, and we're moving right along with number six. Do you still believe? This is the power ballad. You know, we love our power ballads here. This is kind of the power ballad of the album. And I do love power ballads. And this I thought was a great tune. I wrote, speaking of haunting, this is really good. What did I say? Her name is Clodagh McCarthy. Really does a really good job singing on here. Um, and from what I'm listening to it, does Dr. X have a thing for Mary? That was one of the things I was asking myself because it sounds like almost like you're hearing Nikki singing, but it's supposed to be Dr. X, and he's talking about the thing wrapped around her throat, which is exactly what Nikki said in the first album. Um, and I did say that Clodagh has a great voice. She's not quite Pamela Moore, but I don't know if she was trying to emulate her specifically, but I thought she really had a really nice voice. And the last thing I wrote was, I loved how the song ramps up to that guitar solo where you have both guitars playing together. It just sounded spectacular. To me, that sounded like classic Queensryche. What do you think, Mark?
I agree. And I kind of felt like it was like the sequel to I Don't Believe in Love
Mm,
from Operation Mindcrime. I thought it was cool. I thought that was a well-needed song at that point in the album. It kind of slowed everything back down, and you had it as a listener time to breathe again and kind of digest what you've heard and what you're hearing right now.
Yeah, I liked it from the beginning. At first, I wrote, this is a decent ballad, but the more I listened to it, the more I did like it. And it really did grow on me. At parts of it, there's these different rhythm instruments in the background, which I liked. Both vocalists, I think, are good. I think it's a nice, pretty ballad. And the lyrics or the song and what it's about really interest me because without having the lyrics in front of me, though, I don't always know with this what the story is. And so I know that Mary was a prostitute that became a nun. Is that the in the original story, or she was a
yes.
okay? And so with this, do you still believe in God and some of that? I didn't know if he was singing that to Mary at some point or what the purpose of the song was. But I'm real curious about the lyrics, and I actually tried to look them up, but I couldn't find them anywhere.
Mm. I think it's to establish that she was having problems with her faith.
Okay.
And I think we knew that because she had such a terrible life because of being a prostitute and having issues as a child with her family or whatever. Words that I can't say on a YouTube
I
video.
understand.
But yeah, so I think it was pretty neat to kind of explore that a little bit. All right, so next up is seven, The Devil's Breath. I my notes basically says pretty good, catchy chorus. I don't hate it, but it really didn't stand out to me, so I don't have much to say about it. What say you, Mark?
You know what? Another one. This is like the OG Queensryche sound, where it sounds a lot like Queensryche from back, like even like before Operation Mindcrime. I really dug it. I thought it was pretty cool. I thought it kind of brought me back to what I loved about Queensryche, um, other than Geoff Tate's other solo stuff. So I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, I have to echo that. This is another one of the ones that I probably rank in my top 4 or 5 on the album. And I wrote the same thing. It really made me feel Queensryche, being that it's a Tate solo album, that if we're going to go back and revisit a Queensryche story, and I know he's got the rights to it and all that, but I want it to sound like Queensryche, and I really thought this did.
Okay, so next up we have Ascension, which I'm guessing talking to Robert, he didn't really listen to. He might skip this a
Skipped
little
it.
bit, but I liked it for what it was. It's a very pretty acoustic song. It was probably like a throwaway thing. It's like, oh, we got to put it in here somewhere. And so they used it to, I think, connect the devil's breath to set you free. What did you think, Mark?
Oh, I thought it was a perfect bridge. I thought it was the bridge going to the bridge was perfect to set you free because it had that slow, like you said, build up. And it was a great acoustic part. It's like, okay, there's kind of a nice surprise. I actually kind of wish it went on a little longer because I was enjoying it so much.
I know I listened to it once or twice, but I didn't know enough of it. I don't remember it well enough, and I didn't write anything down about it.
Okay. So next up after Ascension, it goes right into Set You Free. And so this is my notes for that. It's all right. I thought the chorus was kind of disappointing because it was kind of a flat chorus. He doesn't really do anything dynamic with his voice with it. It seemed like Geoff could have done more with that. Um, and it just didn't hit, I guess, the ticks that I was hoping it would hit.
That's funny you say that because I'm a little different. I liked it and I liked the chorus. And to me, it seemed like it was something they were playing that kind of a sing along there. Not that a lot of it has a sing along, but the set you free part, I could see the crowd singing along with that. And again, this was another one that sort of gave me that Queensryche vibe, and I liked it.
I like this. I like that we can disagree because we're so agreeable. I think we're going to get to the point at one point where you're going to be like, Chris, you are the dumbest person. But we're not there yet, I hope. But we'll see by the time we're done with this. What do you think, Mark?
I'm kind of on the lines of you. with Ascension, what I thought was so cool, and I got let down by Set You Free. I thought the vocals were decent, but the song was like, it was okay. I thought it wasn't definitely not one of the stronger tracks on the album.
Okay, so next up is track 11, which is Power, which was their first single. This was a song that we all had a chance to listen to before the album came out. Um, in my notes, I mean, this is, of course, the one I think I know the best because I had listened to it before the album came out. Um, it was a very progressive metal song. It was heavy, it was in your face, and I think it was a good, I guess, handshake for the album to get your attention to say, hey, this is the new Operation Mindcrime album. I love the guitar. I love the synths. I thought that was just really fun to listen to. And I hadn't heard a song like that in a long time. And I really like the word is whatever the F I want it to be. I think Geoff didn't really hold back on his language on this one. What did you guys think of it? I'll start with you, Robert.
I had the same idea about it. The guitars really drew me in, and I thought it had a stronger start than it did first half than it does second half. And I don't know, it just to me, it's not one of the top songs on the album. I'm probably going to rank it the middle part of the album because there's about four or five that I like better.
Mhm.
And so I don't think I liked it as much as you. And I guess I understand why they picked that as the lead single. Just some of those other songs, I guess, are fitting the story, or maybe not the most conventional kind of song you would release as a single. But for me, it wasn't one of the better songs.
What do you think, Mark?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I thought coming from Set You Free, I thought it was a good transition. I thought so to tell the truth, I think they should have ended the album on this. If that tells you where I'm going on the next set. So, but I thought it was a good song.
I like that you said. I'm glad that you said that, and we'll touch upon that when we get to the last song. So from there we have something called "You Can't Walk Away Now," which isn't really a song. It has like sound effects and stuff, but it's basically a conversation on the phone between Dr. X and Nikki. And I looked at it. And I think it was basically the whole concept, the whole basically story of Operation Mindcrime in a 2.5 minute dialogue. Kind of talked about all the things about what he went through with music in the first album, but just sort of like it's like Nikki had all these revelations on the phone. Maybe that's what Operation Mindcrime is that conversation on the phone. I don't know. Um, but I was confused. And I talked to Mark a little bit about this today because I ran into him, and I was confused because he says you need to kill Mary, but it was like, but he told him that in the car in the original uh, album, right? And so I'm like, at what point was he supposed to kill Mary? So I was confused by that, but it was interesting. I guess it was to kind of set up for the last song to show you how evil Dr. X really turned out to be, I guess. Do you have anything to add to that, Mark?
Um, I thought the narration was cool. It kind of brought back again the original album, where they had narration throughout the album. So I thought it was a good way to kind of wrap things up, so to speak. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was kind of a throwback to original Operation Mindcrime. So yeah, it was cool.
How about you, Robert?
I didn't spend much time on it, and I was confused by it, honestly. And so I tried listening again to it today, and I still didn't know what was going on with that particular song
Yeah.
or track.
But you had said that you don't know, you haven't followed the story of Operation Mindcrime as closely as I guess me or Mark.
Yeah, it's something that anytime I've ever had to go back and review it, I never could just flesh out the story by listening to it. It was always if I sat down and read the lyrics, maybe, or if I went and read a synopsis of the plot. And so I had to really go back and do that. Not so much for the first one, but definitely for the second one because I just didn't have the exposure to it. Um, so yeah, when they did all of that, I until you mentioned it, I wasn't sure what was going on there.
Okay. And so then we end with a song called "A Monster Like Me." Um, and one thing I was kind of disappointed because in the first one the album ends with "Eyes of a Stranger," which is like a knock yourself out, just a perfect bookend. It just It's just like, it has the whole revolution at the end with all, it's just an awesome ending. And I think it took more from Operation Mindcrime II, which was a very soft and dull ending with, I guess, Nikki and Mary in heaven together or something like that. And and so I thought I was kind of disappointed. And then it had saxophone to it because I don't remember many Queensrÿche songs with saxophone in it. Made it sound like a film noir. Like, you have the detective in his office and he's being visited. It's like this weird saxophone sound to it. So I thought it kind of left the album on a weak note. What do you think, Robert?
It's funny you mentioned that because I have the same thing. I have saxophone with question marks, and the song was just very bland. And I'm sure there's a reason he did that, and it probably ties the story up. But as far as ending the album, as you said, the first one ends with such a classic song. This ends with just a very bland song that I'll probably not listen to very often.
Yeah, I agree. I was really disappointed. I mean, coming from like Eyes of a Stranger, which is like an amazing wrap up of that album, and just like it it tells a story and just it hits you with a punch. This one, did they get Kenny G to do this? The saxophone? I was so disappointed. It's like maybe they should have ended with the narration instead because it was just such a letdown after the album was for the most part I thought really good, and then it ends with that. It's like it was quite disappointing.
Yeah, I liked your idea of it ending on power. That
Yeah,
seemed like
yeah,
a good that'd be like an Eyes of a Stranger kind of ending to it,
exactly.
I think. So yeah, so I mean that's kind of our track by track coverage of the album Operation Mindcrime III. What grade would you give it, Mark?
I give it a solid B. A solid B would be good. No higher because it's not going to reach the A status, but a solid B. I enjoyed it. I've listened to it probably at least 6 times.
Mhm. How about you, Robert?
I'm probably not going that high, but I definitely a C plus. Maybe if there was another song or two that I really liked, I would punch that up to a B. But I think because it's something that's been done before and it's not unique, it's not a new idea. It's kind of like the third in a sequel. It's kind of been there, done that, but it's not terrible at all. And I think a C plus is an album that is worth listening to. Definitely think if you are a Queensryche fan, a Geoff Tate fan, a completionist, and you like to finish up collections, this is definitely something to get. I appreciate that it did get that Queensryche vibe, but as far as if I was going to turn somebody on to Tate or Queensryche, this isn't the album I would do it with. With that said, though, if after Tate wraps up this Mindcrime tour he's doing, I hope he'll put a song or two from this in his set. There's a couple of songs I really liked.
I mentioned to, I think both of you that I really haven't got a story out of this. I kind of equate this to Cats. Um, I went to see Cats with my wife, and during intermission, I talked to her. I says, "What's going on? I don't know what's going on." And she's like, "There's not really a story. It's a song. It's basically a whole bunch of songs about cats." I'm like, "Are you serious?" So this to me, I think is just a whole bunch of songs about Dr. X and his perspective. I don't really get a storyline in here. I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think you're correct. Maybe there's a reason why they didn't put lyrics in the CD if you were to buy one or you can't find them online. Because I watched some other YouTube channels talking about this album and they don't have lyrics in there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so
Wow.
which is too bad, but maybe there's a reason for it. Uh, here's my opinion overall. That Operation Mindcrime was perfection, and they should have left it at that. There shouldn't have been a second one. There shouldn't have been a third one. That being said, um, it is what it is. And Geoff Tate, and you know what? And I thought about this today on the way home. This isn't really a money grab because otherwise you could buy it on Amazon, you could buy it on different platforms, and you can't. It's like really expensive only on his website. So, not really a money grab in that respect. Maybe this is a personal thing he wanted to do, like to conclude the story from another perspective, I guess. But that being said, it is what it is. So I enjoyed it for that. Did this need to be made or the second one need to be made? No, not at all. There's no reason for those to be made. But since they have been made, this one is definitely the better between two and three.
Well, I agree that I wasn't sure why this was made, but being that nobody's making money off of recorded music these days, aside, I know vinyl has made a comeback, but they're not making the kind of bank that they used to off recorded music. So I didn't think this was a big money grab either, where it was just the record company saying, give us this, or he's like, I got one last hurrah. You can sell a lot. Nobody's making money off CDs and albums that much anymore. So maybe it's just a story he wanted. Um, I guess when I heard that it was supposed to be the other perspective, is it the story being told from Dr. X's view? And I ran into you at Wicked a couple of weeks ago, and you get the other side of Wizard of Oz, right? There's this overlap. And so I kept wondering if that's what this was, and we're getting Dr. X's perspective on all. But I just don't, without the lyrics, I can't make the story out well enough to know.
Yeah, I was
So
kind
that's
of
where I'm at.
hoping because I think the best villain is a villain that thinks he's right.
Hmm.
And I don't really get that from Dr. X. I feel like this is a villain just to be a villain. Um, and I think there were some lyrics that made it sound like maybe he had some ideals, but I think a lot of it was just like even like during that conversation with Nikki, he ends it with, you know, you can just see him just going, with his fingers.
Right.
And I was just like, he's just kind of a one-sided villain. But maybe if, like you said, if we had the lyrics, I'd have an easier time to kind of decipher what the album was about. But so this is my main takeaway. You were talking, I like how Mark said that we didn't need two and three, but of the three, of the two and three, three was better. And I forgot to say that I am giving it a B, just because I thought the music was solid, even though I don't see myself listening to it from beginning to end like I would Operation Mindcrime. I'd probably listen to select songs unless somehow I get the story out of it, where I have to hear the beats and hear what happens in the storyline. Um, so I equate this. This is kind of what I got my genius equation. I equate the Operation Mindcrime albums to the Matrix films. Number one we did not need sequels to number one. Um, a lot of people would agree that two and three were far inferior. They were interesting. They had some neat concepts. And in this case, part three was better than part two. And so I was like, this is the Matrix, but on CDs. I don't know if you guys would agree with that. You guys
Totally
are
agree.
huge Matrix fans. I don't know.
Totally agree. Yeah.
But the bad thing is there was a Matrix 4. So we might get Operation Mindcrime 4 when he's like 90. I don't know.
I didn't even know there was a Matrix 4.
There
Wow.
was. It was released during COVID, so it didn't actually get an official
Oh,
release. It
Oh,
was released on HBO Max. I think it was released in the theaters, but also on HBO Max at the same time. So it really didn't have a big push. And I think a lot of people said it was. I watched it. It was all right, but it didn't. That was one that really did not need to be made. So hopefully there won't be an Operation Mindcrime 4. And if there is, hopefully it's better, I guess. But some final thoughts. What do you think, Mark?
well, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him in concert and seeing, how I can't really imagine him doing one, two, and three all back to back. I could see him maybe taking certain songs from one and two and focusing on three since it's his album. I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think it'd be really cool. So I mean, I came into the album with low expectations, and they were raised substantially. So I'm very pleased.
How about you, Robert?
so Mindcrime comes out in the late 80s, almost 40 years ago. And here we are this year, and Geoff Tate is touring Mindcrime again. We have Mindcrime III out, And so it's just this classic brand or classic album that's staying alive, and we're still talking about it. And so I think that's the cool thing about it. And I'm curious to see, he's out on tour, and this is out now. And so he's been playing Mindcrime start to finish, and then about five or six other Queensrÿche songs. And so I'm wondering if he's going to throw one of these songs in on the set list. I'll have to keep an eye out for that. So maybe we'll get one or two when he comes back in September.
Well, supposedly he's going to do all three albums.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing on the internet. I don't know for sure. Like I said, I saw one and two, and I kind of got tired after a little while.
It's a
Um,
long show.
it's going to be a long show if you're doing
A
three
long
whole
show.
albums. That's about 3 hours worth of music, 2.5, 3 hours worth of music, and I'm not saying he can't do it. If he's got no one opening for him, I guess you have the time to do it. But for someone who's waiting for like Empire to come play and all they're hearing is this music and the hardest part I think is going to be is that a lot of people probably haven't heard the music as well because you can't buy the CD so easily. You have to go to Amazon, which I guess is easier, or Spotify or something like that, um, which might be easier in the long run. But a lot of people our age still like the physical media, and um, I've been hoping for the CD. I want the CD, and I know, and I'll leave it at this, that he is going to put out. There is a thing that you can buy. I think it's $250 where you get a record, a CD, an all autographed backstage pass, and all that, and then a meet and greet
Wow.
to meet him and the band. And so that's pretty cool.
That
250 is a lot of
is.
money, but you get a lot of stuff. So I would Google that if you're interested in it.
That's a
But
great price for a
but
meet and
you,
greet with all of
yeah,
that merch.
Yeah.
but I think
That's
you
not
have
bad at all.
I think you have to buy it at the merch stand, and so it'll sell out, and it's limited quantity, so you can't just wait till after the show. It's like, I think I'll pick one up because they'll probably be sold out. I think he's selling like 50 of them or something. I don't remember how many.
Wow.
So it'll be probably hard to get. Um, oops. So anything else you guys would like to say before we go?
I just thought it was interesting. Oh, the one thing I wanted to mention when I was talking about we're still doing Mindcrime, I know that Queensrÿche can't play it start to finish. They don't have the rights to it. He has that, but they change their set list up pretty frequently when they tour. But depending on the tour, they're even still playing six or seven songs off of it. And that's just a testament to the greatness of the original album. And you know, I don't know. I don't think it's ever going to happen. They get back together, but you know,
They both seem to be doing okay for themselves at the moment, at least.
and
I got one
playing the
thing to say.
same kind of venues, same size
Yeah.
venues. They're not in arenas anymore.
Mark?
And if anyone has not checked out Queensryche with Todd LaTorre, which
Oh,
it took me a little while to like accept that Geoff Tate wasn't there, man, once you embrace that, man, it's some great music. They have like I think 4 albums with Todd. Man,
hmm
they are awesome. So, so good. So make sure if you're a Queensryche fan, check it out, Todd LaTorre.
And he's versatile because I think he plays drums on at least one of the CDs, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
he does.
wow.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, the one
So,
when Scott left the band, he filled in.
yeah. When Scott I guess, was going to leave for a little bit, but then I guess left permanently, and
Yeah, pretty
different
much.
stories about that, what the circumstances were for that. So,
Right.
uh, all right. Well, I think we all liked the album. I don't
Yeah,
know if it's going to be in our playlist per se, but I don't think we'll turn the radio off if it comes up. So I think we're all going to give it a thumbs up, at least,
definitely.
kind of up. Um, and at least it gets a passing grade from all of us, from
Definitely.
C to B, between C and B. I think it's about an average C plus, so not too bad. That's probably like me in high school, a little better than me in high school.
Me too.
So, yeah. So anyway, Robert, Mark, thank you guys for joining me once again to talk about hard rock music and what's coming out. Hopefully this will come out before Operation Mindcrime IV comes out. So I have a little bit of time there, but hopefully I'll put this out here pretty soon. So thank you all for joining me, and we'll talk to you all later.